The final section, the Eeman in the decree. So quickly then, the Eeman in the decree, what are the 4 pillars? Eeman in the decree, the 6th pillar of Eeman, which is Eeman in the decree of Allah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He decrees everything. Everything that occurs as a consequence of Allah's decree. But when you say, I have Eeman in the decree, it encompasses 4 things. 4 pillars. The first of them is, we've done this many times. Knowledge. The first pillar, when you say, I have belief in the decree, the first thing to remember what you mean by that is 4 things. Belief in the decree, you mean by that 4 things. The first of them is that you believe Allah's knowledge encompasses every single thing. Every word, every sound, every action, every movement. In the openness, under the ground, hidden, concealed, whatever. Every single thing, Allah's knowledge encompasses it all. Allah's knowledge encompasses all of that. Whether it is things that happen in the past, things that are happening in the present, things that happen in the future. Allah's knowledge encompasses all of those things, past, present, future. And then the scholars, they mention something extra on top of that also. So it's not enough just to say that Allah's knowledge encompasses the past, present and future. You might think that's enough, that's everything, past, present and future. There's more. Allah's knowledge encompasses the past, the present, the future, and Allah's knowledge encompasses, Allah knows about things that never even occurred. If they had have occurred, Allah knows how they would have happened. If those things had taken place, Allah knows how they would have taken place. And they never even took place. Things that never occurred, things that never happened, Allah knows how they would have happened if they had taken place. Everyone understand that? Something which never happened. But if it did happen, if it was to have happened, Allah knows how it would have happened. So that's the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Things that have happened, past, present and future. And things that haven't even happened, they never even took place. If they had taken place, Allah knows exactly how they would have taken place. That's the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first pillar of the belief in the decree. The second pillar of the belief in the decree is the second. The first was the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of that is the knowledge of Allah. The second is the writing. The writing in the preserved tablet. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has written everything that's going to occur. It has been recorded in the preserved tablet. That's mentioned in some narrations. The narration of Abdurrahman ibn Amr ibn al-As, where he says that the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, كتب الله مقادير الخلائق قبل أن يخلق السماوات والأرض ب50 ألف سنة وكان عرشه على الماء. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wrote down the decree of everything that's going to occur 50,000 years before even creating the creation. 50,000 years even before the creation of the heavens and the earth, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had already written down the decree of everything that's going to happen up until the Day of Judgment. There's one narration where it's mentioned, it says, أول ما خلق الله القلم قال له اكتب. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the pen, Allah said to the pen, write. The pen said, ما أكتب, what shall I write? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, write down everything that's going to occur up until the Day of Judgment. So again, the decree, it was written down and it was recorded in the preserved tablet. Lawh al-Mahfuz. That's the preserved tablet where everything was recorded within it. The decree of all that is to occur. That's the second level of the belief in the decree.
Does that include humans as well? Like, as in the sense that their actions?
Everything, yes. All of everything that's going to occur, our actions, the decree, all of it is written. The whole of the decree of what's going to occur up until the Day of Judgment is recorded. It's.
No, I was just wondering how then choice, how does that come into that form?
We'll mention that now here as well then. So the decree, we'll finish the 4 points off, we'll come to that in a minute then. So the third point then, that's the first 2 points, the knowledge of Allah, the writing, how the decree has been preserved. The third stage of your belief in the decree is Al-Mashi'ah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wills that to happen then. Allah allows that to happen, Allah is the one who wills all of that to happen. Allah knows it, it's been recorded, then Allah allows it and wills it to happen. The fourth stage of your belief in the decree then is that it is Allah who then creates all of that to happen. Al-Khalq. Allah creates that. The creation of that decree then comes about from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't say that Allah has knowledge, Allah wrote it all down, preserved tablet, Allah willed it to happen, but then somebody else came along and created it all. The fourth stage is that Allah then created all of that to happen. They are the four stages of the decree. That should be memorized. That is the meaning of your belief in the decree. Then the issue of choice. If everything's been recorded and everything's written, then how does the issue of choice come into these things? The reality is that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we say that we have a choice in what we do. We have choice. We have choice in our actions. It's the people of innovation, some of them, who went astray and they said that we don't have choice in anything that we do. We say we have choice, but the meaning of that is, as Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. You don't wish to do something except that Allah wishes it first. You don't will to do anything except that Allah wills it first. Meaning we have a choice in what we do, but it's just that Allah already knows the choice we're going to make. But we are the ones who chose to make it. Allah has given us that free will to be able to make choices. But Allah in His wisdom and His knowledge already knows the choices we're going to make. So we're not compelled to make that choice. We have the opportunity to make that choice. But it's known to Allah already what choice we're going to make. So the fact that we're all sat here today, that was a choice. We chose to come and sit here today in the masjid. But it was known to Allah and it was already written in the decree that you were going to make this choice to come here today. That's how you put them together, very simply. That we choose to do things, but the choices we make are already known to Allah. Not like the people of innovation who said that we don't have a choice in anything. Al-Jabariyah, they said we don't have a choice in anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has decreed upon us the decree, and we are just feathers in the wind. Wherever the wind comes, it blows us. That's what the people of innovation, they said. But that's incorrect. That's clearly incorrect. Because if it was the case that we don't have a choice in anything, then how could this trial be run? How could this trial be exercised? How could punishment and reward be exercised? Paradise and hellfire, if none of us have a choice in anything we do, then how are the people of paradise going to be chosen and how are the people of hellfire going to be chosen? That choice, or that the mercy of Allah of entering those into paradise and the justice of Allah of entering those into hellfire is as a consequence of the choices that we make. We choose to worship Allah, so we worship Allah. The one who chooses to do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides him and opens his heart to the worship of Allah, so he worships Allah. Another one, he doesn't. He doesn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a choice of his own, not to worship Allah. So that's what you're held accountable for on the Day of Judgment. So it's not accurate to say that we don't have a choice. It's been recorded, and so therefore we're just following out that decree. We are following out that decree, but via our own free will. And we know that from your own logical perspective. Everyone knows now you had a free will to come here today. And nobody forced you to come and sit here today in the masjid. Everybody had free will and they decided that I will go and I will sit and I will listen to this lecture. That's a free will choice that everybody made. Nobody was forced to do that. When you prayed Isha today, Salat al-Isha, you prayed it of your free will. Nobody said to you or forced you or put a gun to your head or a knife or had your family and said, I'm going to kill them if you don't go to the masjid and pray. None of that happened. It was your free choice and will to come and to pray. And you know that this was your free choice and will, because you know the difference between compulsion and between choice. Compulsion, if somebody comes to you and puts a knife to your throat and says, do this and do that. Now you know you don't have any choice. You're forced and you're compelled to do something. But now, outside of that, coming to the masjid and praying, coming doing this, doing that, obedience to Allah, worship to Allah, nobody puts a knife to your head and says, make wudu and pray. You do that of your own free choice. You get up, you make wudu and you pray. So we know that we have this free choice in our actions. So that free choice, it exists. But we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He already knows those choices that we're going to make. That's with regards to the decree, the final pillar of Eeman.